Hello, Bethel Park, and welcome to a very special edition of Healthy, Fit, and Strong. We're here today with the infamous local legend, Miss Fat Mandy. Welcome. Woo!
Thank you, Amy. Thank you.
Now, your real name is actually Mandy.
True that.
Can you explain to the viewers at home how you got your name?
Certainly. I have been a working independent entertainer since 1990-ish, something in there. And in 1995, I went off and joined the circus. I dropped out of college and I joined a troupe called the Bindlestiff Family Roadshow from New York City. And my stage name at the time, I was in a performance poetry troupe called the Bull Seal Collective. And my stage name at that time was the Sister Master of the Fist Masticating Arts. And
I know what this is leading towards. Talk to the viewers at home.
It's just it's one of the ways that it was a fabulous human trick that I would do to cap off some of my shows and occasionally still engage in, but it wasn't very memorable as a name. So my dear friend David Apocalypse, now currently known as Slippy the Clown, said, "Well, you're doing that half man, half woman act," and I said, "Yeah, man, I'm doing that half man, half woman act," and I had a woman dressed on one side and a man's suit on the other, beautifully tailored. And I would sing love songs to myself. He said, "You're Mr. Sister Fat Mandy." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that works. Okay, that works." And because I'd been called fat all my life, so it was like, I'm just going to reclaim that and just be pretty hot and tempting, P-H-A-T, Mandy. And I went off on tour of 95 through 99 with various punk rock sideshow incarnations from both sides of the country. And now I have this beautiful underground bizarre community of freaks and weirdos that know me as Fat Mandy. And
now I have a small synopsis of the things that you do, and I would love for you to tell the viewers at home exactly about this. Now, you're a cosmic jazz cabaret vocalist.
That's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Good. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Big sci-fi nerd.
Yeah.
Definitely lots of showmanship in my show with dancers and pageantry and lots of moves. I like to move.
And you feel the music too. When you are singing, you are moving, you are grooving, and your body just takes you to places.
Well, thank you.
I love it.
Mean, it's easy when I have such wonderful musicians to play with. You know, Pittsburgh is rich with incredible jazz musicians, and that really has informed quite a bit. And I've also been blessed to study with my dear friend Christine Andrews over the years. She teaches belly dance, so I've been studying with her on and off for 30 years.
You're also a band leader.
Yes.
And which band do you lead?
Mine.
Your own band?
Yeah, Fat Mandy, members of the Cultural District is what I call my jazz band. And also I'm a co-band leader with my friend Liz Berlin in our collaborative project, Social Justice Disco.
Yes, talk to us about that.
So I work with Liz Berlin
Rusted Root.
of Rusted Root and owner of Mr. Small's Theater. Creative Life Support is the nonprofit arm of that organization, and she's the director of that as well. And so we've been friends going back many, many years as musicians in Pittsburgh, but about 10 years ago, I started getting involved with her organization, Creative Life Support, first as a video intern, video documenting bands and interviewing bands that played Mr. Smalls, and then video documenting her foster kid music care program, music songwriting and recording program at her recording studio. And she said, "You know, it's ridiculous to have you here and not have you doing actual vocal work." And so I became the vocal coach, and that has grown into vocal coach and songwriting coach. And it's and I was in CLS. I am still in the program's called We Rock Workshop. Any foster kid in Allegheny County between the ages of 14 and 21 is eligible for the program. And we're getting ready to start back up again. Right now, of course, we're still on Zoom, but we hope to move back into the recording studio at some point.
And how do you qualify for that? You fill out an application online? And
just email us. Email at creativelifesupport.com, I believe, or contact anybody at the Department of Allegheny Human Services. Ange is the one who handles the program.
Fantastic.
Angela Moffat.
And that's to help the foster children?
Yeah, we do songwriting. So after about 5 years of being in the program, I was like, "Liz, you and I should put out a record." And she's like, "Yeah, maybe we will someday." And then April 1st, 2015, 2015, I think it was, maybe no, it was 2015, because it was just before the Trump administration. I woke up and and I made an April Fool's Day joke on my Facebook, and I said, "Hey everybody, guess what? Liz Berlin and I and the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, we're making a social justice disco record. It's going to be called Songs to Fight Fascists By." And I tagged her in it, and she was on the road with Rusted Root at the time. And she woke up to like this flurry of notifications. She's like, "What in the world is Mandy talking about?" And then she realized it was a joke. And then our friends who got really excited about it, and our fans got really excited about it, were mad that it was a joke. And she said to me, "Do you actually have music for this thing?" And I was like, "What's a joke?" I mean, yes, I do. I have like wildly way too provocative music that doesn't belong on a jazz record, I don't think, which I think I've since changed my opinions on. But at the time, I was like, this stuff is way too crazy, like songs about, drone warfare and fascism and all this anti-racist stuff. And she's like, "Well, I mean, if you really have a song, we're opening Mr. Small's Funhouse, and I could book, if we could actually write and work something up, we could actually just do it the opening weekend." And so the opening weekend of Mr. Small's in October of that year, we performed our first ever song together, Fourth Reich Arisen, a very cheery ditty about the horrors of authoritarian dictatorship. And
I love it.
90s alt rock kind of style with a horn section.
I love it.
And yeah, our fans really loved it, and they funded a crowdfunder campaign for us to actually record. And
wow.
We ended up working with about 60 musicians and artists and dancers. We have special guests like MC Hollywood, MC Big Juss, Native American local family, the Johnny Creedco and his family. We collaborated to make a song called Miniwichani, and it's a song about water, because Johnny and his daughter-in-law Arlena both went to Standing Rock to protest the oil pipeline. And so when they came home, I was inspired to write a poem, and I hit them up, and Johnny's son, Sunbear, and we wrote one. Collaborated with Big Juss, who is a buddy of ours who teaches with us at We Rock Workshop. He is out in McKeesport, and he works with a lot of kids at 412 Youth Zone, which is a homeless drop-in center, and at various placement facilities like Auberly. And he's a really wonderful MC who came home in the early 90s to take care of his family, but he was on his way to becoming a really up-and-coming MC. He's a killer rapper. So he's one of the guests. We have the gospel choir that I sing with, the Leamington Gospel Chorale, led by Derek Tynes, collaborated with us on a rendition of the Peace Poets song, I Can't Breathe. And we did other songs like, we did some covers like Your Racist Friend, a very cheery song by They Might Be Giants. And just made a lot of music that made a lot of people think, and our fans liked it. And right before pandemic, we were going to go out to California. I had a couple festivals that wanted to bring us out with the big group. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Hopefully that happens this year.
And you do strive to put forth the message of social and racial equality.
Justice and equity, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, equity, more so equity, because that means, like reparations and like recognizing what happened and striving to fix it every day. Right. I see racism kind of like the same way I see addiction. Like you have to wake up every day and choose to not drink or choose to not do drugs. And you have to wake up as a white person in this nation and this world to choose not to be racist. Like every day, just like, you know what, I'm just going to be super conscious of my white privilege and try and understand how it affects everybody and everything around me and not be creepy about it and just figure this out. I've been an activist since the 90s, since before that, before I went off with the circus. I was part of a number of activist groups.
It's just a voice that spoke to you from inside that said, this is what I need to do with my voice?
Well, I grew up as a Jew in Central PA, in Altoona, PA, and I was always different. And then, you think a lot about justice, when you're raised on stories of the Holocaust. You think about, how people can be with each other in other ways that we could be, and how much nicer it would be if systems of inequality were dismantled You don't have those thoughts when you're, 15 or 16. But when I was 16, when I was 14, I moved to Pittsburgh. When I was 16, I got into an argument with a bunch of white supremacist skinheads at the Beehive Coffee Shop in Oakland. And then I saw them a couple weeks later at Carnegie Mellon campus at a ska show, which is ironic because ska is a music of racial integration. And I went, and they were all there, and I thought that was weird, but whatever, And then they ganged up on me outside and beat the living. Oh yeah, I had to go to the hospital. It was bad. My face was out to here. And what was wild is there was only maybe a dozen of the skinheads, and there were like 30 hippies. But the hippies were scared. Bless.
Wow.
And they just were like, ah, ah, ah. God bless whoever went and told Chucky, because those skinheads weren't going to stop.
Oh, that's disturbing. Stop until you were done.
I think so. I mean, they had steel-toed boots. I was on the ground. I mean, I didn't think. Good times. Good times.
Wow. But yet you continue to speak your
Well,
your
that
truth.
just made me like
Fueled your fire.
I was just like, well, you're either going to kill me or you're not, and so I'm just like
Kill me or make me stronger.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. I just wasn't, but like it just made me more determined to not let them get the last word.
Right. Don't let them win.
Yeah, and to make sure people knew that, if they're going to do that to me, what are they going to do to people with brown and black skin?
Right.
And so it radicalized me, and then I joined like friends of mine who would like hang out, and wait for gay bashers in the park to come mess with gay people, and we would attack them.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes.
You would attack them before they attacked the gays.
Yes. It was a thing back then.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because you couldn't be openly gay in many places,
No, I
so there
know
are
that,
there are
but-
parks that people would go to hang out and meet up, and
No, I know.
So and then gangs of violent people were going to gay bash, queer people in the woods, and so we would go out and counterattack.
Oh my gosh.
It was just,
With your own fists or with bats or with...
we had pink bats.
Oh my gosh.
Like you do. Like, it's been
Wild.
a minute. It was a
Wild.
lot. I was much younger and much bolder.
Sure.
I was much
Sure.
bolder back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I made a record. I made a record to do that, and to give voice to friends of mine that needed a little more exposure to my community.
Right.
And plenty of exposure in their own community, but more exposure in my community. And I also, because I'm a jazz musician and I work with black and brown people. Jazz is music of the African diaspora. It's rooted in black culture.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to make this music and if I'm going to call myself a jazz artist and I'm going to work with these people, then it behooves me as a human in the world to defend and protect the living descendants of the people who invented the thing I love so much. And that's what I teach in my anti-racist workshops that I do at all the festivals I play.
And I understand that you're having a Racial Justice Summit coming up. Talk to us about this.
I am. So the Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit is it's all online this year.
Yes.
It formed in 1995 as an initiative of the Black-White Family Reunion. And the Black-White Family Reunion, after the murder of Johnny Gamage by Baldwin police, they strangled him for driving too fancy a car through their neighborhood. His cousin was a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think he was driving that car.
I remember that.
So during those protests, they said, well, what can we do to change the city? And we didn't have this language back then, but make it most livable for all. So they formed then it was called the Summit Against Racism, and it's over the years become and developed and evolved into the Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit. So this will be its 24th year since the
Wow, I
murder
did
of
not
Johnny
know that.
Gamage and the 24th year of the summit. The website is pittsburghracialjustice.org.
And there's many different speakers.
Yes, the keynote speakers on Friday night are Damon Young, the author of What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker. Disha Philyaw, the author of The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. And Brian Broom, the author of Punch Me Up to the Gods. So they're going to have a freeform fireside chat.
Fantastic.
Is how we're billing that. And then last night, actually, I If you go to my Instagram or the Summit's Instagram feed, you'll see a picture I shot behind the scenes. We were filming my dear friend, Dr. Herbert Vincent Ricardo Piedro Jones, and his choir, the Heritage Gospel Chorale of Pittsburgh, as they sing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice.
Love it.
So we were at Reverend Grayson's church last night to film that in the Hill. Chris Ivy's doing that video recording.
And how can the viewers at home watch that?
Log on
Log on,
to register for the Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit. There's a number of different price points, but nobody is turned away for lack of funds. There is a free option if you don't have any dough and you want to come and learn. There's so many workshops about, there's wellness workshops, there's critical race theory workshops, there's, it's very intersectional, so a lot of stuff about gender equality in this one too. We let the workshop submissions inform how we were going to determine the theme instead of determining the theme and then soliciting workshops to fit that theme. So the theme this year is Equity in Action, Navigating Intersections of Racial Justice.
And if they don't have money to attend,
It's
then
free.
It's
Free. Pick the free option. Pick the free
exactly.
option.
And, is
If,
there
and then if you have a lot of money, you feel free to join and be a sponsor.
now, what about the meet and greet?
So after the Racial Justice Summit, which starts Friday the 21st, and that's the fireside chat with the three authors and Dr. Jones, and then after all the Zoom workshops and panel sessions on Saturday during the day, you can, if you like, head over to see me in person and live at the First Unitarian Church in Shadyside. I believe it's 608 Morewood. And Song Space of First Unitarian is presenting me with my musicians. I'll be playing that night with Tony Campbell, saxophonist, and Victor Garzotto on piano, and Dennis Garner on drums. And if you don't want to come in person, I've set it up so that we're going to be streaming through a company called Side Door Access. And all of those links are on my link tree. The link to register for the summit, the link to buy an in-person ticket or an online ticket to my show later that night, because the summit will be done by 6 and my show starts at 7:30. So plenty of time to get over to Shadyside or to watch online from the comfort of your own home if you're preferring to do that.
That's right.
So that's what I'm doing on the 22nd. That's going to be a crazy weekend.
That's what you're doing. Now, what are you guys doing? Are you doing that on the 22nd as well? All this fabulousness can be viewed on Zoom or in person, not just here on Bethel Park TV. You also, Mandy, have a new single coming out. I'm so excited to talk to you about it.
So thank you for bringing that up. I am really excited. Over pandemic, we lost a dear, wonderful fan of Pittsburgh's jazz community. She was named Kay O'Brien, and her partner Virgil had passed a couple years ago. But Virgil and Kay were at every jazz gig and poetry reading and art opening. They just were always on the scene, and it just, you knew it was going to be a really cool hang if Virgil and Kay were there. And like I said, Virgil passed a couple years ago, and we sadly lost Kay just a couple months into the beginning of the pandemic. And I just really missed them, and I love my fans. Like a show isn't complete without an audience, and I'm glad that I've learned to develop a connection with my audience virtually over pandemic, but there's really nothing like, just that energy exchange and knowing that you're performing for people that want to be there with you, and it's so special. People could choose to spend their lives doing anything, and if they choose to spend it with you, that is an incredible gift. So I love my audience, and I loved Virgil and Kay, so I wanted to write a song for them, even though they couldn't hear it on this plane anymore. And so I contacted my dear friend Reggie Watkins, who is an incredible trombonist, and he's a jazz educator, teaches over at WVU, but was the musical director for Maynard Ferguson's band, and he's since traveled with Jason Mraz's horn section and Postmodern Jukebox, and he played Aretha Franklin's homegoing service with saxophonist Chris Hemingway just seated right behind Minister Farrakhan. It was really kind of wild to tune into Aretha Franklin's funeral and see Reggie right there. But he's toured with the Temptations. He's just fabulous, and he's a dear friend of mine. He's been on every recording of mine since 2002. So I reached out to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, we should write a song. And I said, well, here's the words. If I come up with the melody, it's going to sound like I'm singing a Hebrew funk prayer, because every melody I write is this major minor harmony thing. And I was like, you just do it and make it sound like an actual real jazz song. And he did a beautiful job. He did scoring for 3 horns, piano, bass, drums, and it's a beautiful composition. We recorded it this year at Hyde Studios in Aspinwall, and the musicians I engaged for the project were Dr. James Johnson, the founder of the Afro-American Music Institute, co-founder, with bassist Eli Narragon, and I'm really excited about this. Drummer, Living Legacy, Roger Humphreys is my drummer. And then the horn section, I had Tony Campbell and Reggie Watkins and J.D. Chason, and Chris Hemingway gave a couple shouts on there as well. So we're going to release that first single at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont on February the 19th, and I'm going to have all of those musicians, maybe not Chris because he lives in New York, but all of those musicians on the gig. Roger's going to be on it, which is wild to me. I feel like I've just engaged a NATO bomb to open up a can of tuna, but he doesn't feel that way, he assures me. And we're going to have some dancers. My friend Sunday Service is going to join us, and possibly my belly dance teacher, Christine. I've asked her and I haven't heard back yet. So,
now, how many CDs would you say that you have?
Life Just Goes On, 2002, Torch of Blue, 2007, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah Kwanzaa, 2011, my multilingual, ridiculous holiday CD with artwork by Rob Rogers. And what else did I put? Oh, Hey Fat Chick, You Got It Coming to Ya.
That's a good one. You played that one.
I like Hey Fat Chick. It's one of my favorites, to be honest with you. I like them all. I love them all. But then Social Justice Disco, Songs to Fight Fascists By. I did with Liz, and I released several singles during pandemic. And then recently, I just actually produced, this is not my work, I produced songs from the Stone Hoop. And the artist is my dear friend Miguel Sage Jr. He's in his 70s. He's native to Cuba, but he lives in Penn Hills. And he does a lot of spiritual work with helping the rebirth of the Taino indigenous spirituality. That's the native spirituality of Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. And so this is all sacred songs from their ceremonies that are sung at this point all over the world, but people don't realize Miguel wrote most of them. You know, they just think it's ancient, handed down thousands of years, but no, he wrote it in the early 80s. It's just gained popularity. It's reclaiming their language and reclaiming. So we put, there's one cover on here called Vacía de Barro, which is a beautiful song. We used Chris Rust and the community choir of Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Community Choir. But so that is something I produce. I'm singing backup on it.
When is that available?
It's available now.
Okay,
it's
perfect.
out. We had the release already, and the link is on my Linktree.
Voted #1 Best Local Jazz Act in 2020 by...
and 2021.
And 2021. Fantastic. By the Reader's Poll, Best of Pittsburgh City Paper. Multi-talented, multi-dimensional, just fantastic. Everything about you is just fabulousness. It just oozes with fabulousness.
You must be looking in a mirror, because you're the fabulous one with your pink leopard.
Go on with your bad self. Everything about you is just fabulous. The work that you do, I applaud you for it. And I want the viewers at home to become more involved. I want you to log on to her link page, Facebook, whatever you need to do, communicate with Mandy, Fat Mandy, and see maybe a way that you can get involved in your own community, maybe monetarily, maybe activism. I don't know. I'm not saying you have to have a pink baseball bat and sit in a park and fight the baddies, but I'm just saying everybody can do their part. Everybody can do something. I want to thank you for coming and sharing your stories and telling your tales here with us, Bethel Park TV. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to end, I'm going to tear up. We're going to end with a special a cappella performance from Miss Fat Mandy just to see us out. Ahead of her performance, I'd like to say thank you from all of us here at Bethel Park TV. Healthy, fit, and strong. Happy 2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between and on beyond, welcome. You are currently enjoying a fabulous installation of Healthy, Fit, and Strong by your host, Amy Taylor. My name is Fat Mandy, and this is my theme song. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. When I was young, I joined the circus. I came up with freaks, it's true. But while I saw the nation, I only dreamed of kissing you. I sang for lovely rubber men and for fire-breathing bikes. We did not have no Facebook, so you could not count the likes. I got when I ate them light bulbs and when I pounded those spikes. Through my tongue and through my heart, 'cause there's no brakes upon these bikes. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Well, you know I left from San Francisco all the way to Brooklyn town. It's amazing how far you travel on the powers of a clown. Lost some in Minneapolis, gained some more in New Orleans. But me, I hail from Pittsburgh, ain't she's only what that means. We got lots of freaks and drag queens and burlesquers by the score. But our jazzmen, they are righteous. They have to fight this war. Prepare your towns, we're coming best. Y'all should lock up your men. This fat chick, she's a-singing with her band and with her friends. I got dancers, I got fire, I've got jazz and I've got freaks. My poems cut with fierceness that we ain't seen since the beats. I'm large and I am lovely, so don't forget to stare. When I've left, you'll all be wondering if you can find one like me there. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. Hey, fat chick, you got it coming to you. You are my friend, you are special to me. There's only one you, just like you, my friend. I like you in the daytime, in the nighttime, any time that you're feeling that right time for a friendship with me. You see, Friend, special. You are my friend, and you are